What's up, guys? Let's get it going. It's a pretty good crowd for a Saturday, and the manager gives me a smile. 'Cause he knows that it's me they've been coming to see to forget about life for a while. And the piano, it sounds like a carnival. And the microphone smells like a beer. And they sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, "Man, what are you doing here?" It's a good day to make money, everybody. It is Friday. We got a lot going on. Not a lot of NBA games today, but some bets that I really like. Just a couple bets in the association that I really like. We got some good college football games this weekend. Going to get to two bets there. And we have a full loaded NFL slate that we're going to dive into in just a moment. How we doing today, guys? How we doing? First, let's recap yesterday. Yesterday, we were 4-5 overall. We were down 1 point for units. Our YouTube plays, we split on NBA and NFL. Our NBA plays on YouTube went 2-1. Franz Wagner over 1.5 threes hit. That was easy. Brandon Miller over 17.5 points hit. He had damn near 40. That was a smash and a half. That was my favorite bet of the day. We lost on Jalen Duren, points plus rebounds. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he was nowhere to be found. In fact, he got some minutes taken away from him like a bad boy should, because I don't know why. But yeah, he was not there. So 2-1 in our YouTube plays. In the NBA, NFL, our YouTube plays went 1-2. We had the over 36.5. I hope you joined us with that. Both our receivers missed. We had Pickens over 57.5 receiving yards. He missed. He was at it early. Just couldn't get the ball to him later on in the second half. Him and Wilson were on a different page in that last drive. Missed him in the end zone. Could have done it for us. Didn't. As part of the game. And David Njoku was never part of the game plan. I missed on that one. I missed the read on that one. He over 4.5 catches. He did not hit. Winston just wasn't looking for him. He dropped a pass early, and I think after that, he got on Jameis Winston's naughty list and didn't get there the rest of the game. So our members' plays were 1-2. Our notable members' play, which I gave to here live, was the Hornets plus 122 on the money line over Pistons. Really good game in overtime. Cade Cunningham, the LaMelo Ball, the two best players on the respective teams were out for overtime. Cunningham got hurt and LaMelo fouled out. So it was interesting to watch those teams try and navigate it without those two guys in overtime. Brandon Miller was clearly the best player on the court, and that helped the Hornets get the victory for us there. I also gave it the Browns plus 4.5, and they went outright. I gave it that yesterday. So that is our recap from yesterday. There's not a ton in the association that I like today, but I do want to talk to you about the bets I do like. And when you bet on the NBA, we do 99% player props because sides are very hard in any game and any sport, except football is the most likely to win because the spreads are so hard in the NBA, NHL, MLB. But when you bet player props, you don't so much look at how good the teams are. That doesn't matter. What you look at is player development. Young players tend to be blowout proof because they want to develop them. You look at history, right? You look at the numbers. Basketball is a numbers game. That's the reason why I love player props so much in the NBA. And that's also the reason why I love strikeout props in Major League Baseball. I'm a numbers guy. And I know that team's going to possess the ball in the NBA 117 times a game on average. And I know that if Jason Tatum scores 28.32 points a game, I don't know how many times he's touching the ball. So players more frequently play to their averages. The more that they touch the ball, the more that, pitching, NBA, the more they touch the ball, the more they're going to be true to what their actual average is. So that's what you need in terms of player props with the NBA. Now, NBA Cup games today, and we talked about this last time, that tiebreakers are point differential, so teams tend to run the score up. They tend to leave their stars in longer. We have a game today, the Celtics and the Washington Wizards. arguably the best team in the NBA against arguably the worst team in the NBA. But I talked about the Wizards, teams like the Wizards being blowout proof. They have a lot of young talent that they're trying to develop, and they're going to be in the game. They're not going to take a seat. Now, I love the Pistons. Three of my favorite teams are the Pistons, Blazers, and Hornets because I love watching young teams try and figure it out. And the Wizards are kind of my Pistons from 2 years ago. I've been growing with them and watching them and understanding them and done very well on their player props. And the Wizards fit that mold for me this year. We have Alexander Sarr, young guy. We have Koulibaly, my favorite name to say. And we have Bub, or his government name, you can call him Carlton Carrington, who for a while was leading all rookies in assists. And I look at these player props today, and there's one that I absolutely love. I want to smash, man. On the Wizard, there's two on the Wizard side. One is the aforementioned Carlton Bub. His government name's Carlton Carrington, Washington, over 13 and a half points plus assists. Damn, I love this play today. He gets, as the Wizards grow, you're going to see them rely less on Kyle Kuzma. You'll see his usage go down, rely less on Jordan Poole. And the game plan is going to be to facilitate and play through those young players. So their props are really something to keep an eye on. I also like Alexander Sarr, their power forward / center. He's a stretch four. That's what the kids call today. I like him over 8.5 points today, too. In that same game against Boston, I think that's a home run. His ceiling is so high. When it comes to points or points and assists, here's how I decide what to put in. Why am I not just putting in Carrington points? Well, you weigh the ceiling and the floor. Okay. So Carrington, I have over 13 and a half points plus assists, and his points line is 13 and a half. His points plus assists is 13 and a half. Now he's been under 3 assists very rarely this year. He's under, he's had 2, sometimes 1, but he's been as high as 7. So that means that at his basement, okay, he's only going to take 1 or 2 away from us in the points plus assists. At his ceiling, he's going to add so we can sustain a bad shooting game, a bad points game, in order to play the points plus assists. So that's how I decide what I want to do with those. So I love today. You should put this in. Bub Carlton, government name Carrington, over 13 and a half points and assists. Also put in Alexander Sarr of the Wizards, high ceiling on shot attempts. Put him in on over 8.5 points. Atlanta Hawks are a very interesting team to me. Never, I repeat, under any circumstances, wear black jeans if you're a guy, especially. But aside from that, never bet on Trae Young points because you never know when he's going to shoot. It's so silly to me. The only props you take with Trae Young are assists or double doubles because you never know when Trae's going to shoot, when he's going to have, he's going to go off and they're going to need him to score. So he likes to distribute, man. If they don't need him to shoot, he's not gonna. But there are some players, man. There are some good young cats on this Atlanta Hawks team. Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson. I've cashed like crazy on Jalen Johnson. Yeah, black jeans do suck. I've cashed like crazy on Jalen Johnson. Dyson Daniels today fits that same criteria that I just discussed on Bub Carrington for the over points and assists. I love him today over 16 and a half points plus assists. Now you can get this for 15 and a half. It's pretty juicy. I like going up a little bit, 16 and a half, 15 and a half on my book on FanDuel. One I used was 15 and a half was minus 140. I got a minus 113 on FanDuel. I think that Daniels is easily over 16 and a half points and assists today. The over-under for this game against Chicago. Chicago is a bottom 10 defense. They give up more points than anybody in the association. That's today's opponent. The over-under is set at 240 and a half. So I would think that Dyson Daniels is going to be part of 17 points in some way. He's considered the best guard defender, even considering Lu Dort. Lu Dort has been moved to number 2 in perception. He's considered the best guard defender in the association. And why is that important when it comes to offensive stats? Because he's going to be on the floor with the opportunity for fast break points. That's where he gets most of his points and assists. Put it in there, baby. Dyson Daniels over 16 and a half points and assists. Any question on the association before we move on to a loaded NFL time zone time frame here? Got 20 minutes NFL talk. Sharon, is that Kyle Kuzma over 26.5 points you're talking? Over 20. Oh, Kyrie, not Kyle. Kyrie Irving. Sharon likes over 26.5 points because Luka Doncic is out. Is that right, Sharon? I believe so. Not a bad bet, but it's a high line. Kyrie, you never know what he's going to. If Clay gets hot, he's going to be dishing more. To me, the best play in that game today, in that Mavericks game, is PJ Washington over 6.5 rebounds. I wouldn't call you crazy if it took Kyrie, but 26.5 is a high line for him. All right. Before we get to the NFL, there are two college football plays I want to give you very quickly, and they both involve undefeated teams in the top 25 that are playing a step up in competition, a step up in class. First of all, it's the Indiana and Ohio State game. Lay the 10. I got it for 10. Lay the 10.5, 11, whatever you have to with Ohio State. They're going to win this game by 14. Indiana has not played one team that's bowl eligible this season. In Ohio State has a loss. In the Big Ten, Colorado only has one loss. Oregon is undefeated. They can't afford not to make a statement in terms of who votes in to the eyes of who's voting people in to the 12-team college football playoff. So take Ohio State, lay the 10, lay the 10.5, lay it up to 11.5 or 12. They're going to smoke Indiana. Second one is lay 14. I got it for 14. It's 15.5 now in some books. Notre Dame against Army. Same thing. Army hasn't played anybody really worth noting, and they're not built to come from behind. Those service schools are a great story, and thank you for your service. I appreciate everything you're doing, but you're just not meant to play on a football field against teams like Notre Dame. Those triple option service schools, Navy, Air Force, and Army just can't come from behind. You saw Notre Dame beat Navy 56-14. Those teams just don't have what it takes to step up in that kind of class. So take Ohio State, lay the points, and take Notre Dame, lay the points. Don't parlay them. That's silly business. That's risky business, baby. Play them individual. Moving on to the NFL. And NFL is very interesting this week. And here's why. There's only one. Normally there's like a public darling underdog that the public likes. There's none of that this week. And there's only one underdog that the majority of the public is on, and it's only 51%. Can you guess who it is? As I go on with this video, can you guess? Let me know in the comments the one underdog that the public is on this week. And by the way, I get these where the public is. I get it from thespread.com. Every 10 minutes it updates. And what it does is it's an algorithm it takes from every one of the sports books from every state and compiles the data. So it's really accurate in terms of what percentage the public is on. But who do you think is the only underdog the public is on this week at only 51%? But the first game we're looking at is Detroit and the poor lonesome Colts. They probably wear black jeans when they're not on the field. 85% of the public is on the Lions. I don't blame them. Opened at 2.5%. I'm sorry, opened at spread 2.5, and now it's 7.5. Greg says Raiders or Niners. That is incorrect. And the reason probably, Greg, is that the line of the Niners moved. They were favored 2.5. Now they're getting 3.5. Oh, yeah, right, because they're underdogs. But no, that's in terms of the Niners and Packers, actually 81% is on Green Bay, if you can believe that. Yeah, everyone's all over Green Bay in this one. Actually, you know what? Greg, you're right, brother. I'm sorry. I read my notes wrong. Imagine my embarrassment. No, you're right. San Fran, you got me. Yeah, you're right. San Fran is the second one. There's another one, but Greg's right, man. Sorry, Greg. San Fran is an underdog that the public is on. So San Fran, yes, you're right. I'll get to the other one in a little bit. But Detroit, Indy, stay away from this game unless you're going to take Detroit. I normally like to fade the public when it's an 85% look at it, but just stay away from this game here. Second game's kind of similar. KC, Carolina. Opened at 7.5. Now it's 10.5. Kansas City's been playing really close games, especially when they're winning. So it's tough to lay the 10.5. San Fran off a law. Oh, you live in Wisconsin? San Fran, I see a San Fran off a law scares you. I don't know if they're that scary this year, though, brother. They don't have that je ne sais quoi, that kind of mystique anymore. It's kind of like when Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. They don't have that same allure. And Jordan Love is better than people want to say. So I'm actually on Green Bay on that one there. They've been off a couple losses. I mean, San Fran's in the basement in the NFC West. They're sitting there, you know. They're sitting there rubbing tits with the Rams in the basement of the NFC West. Um, but Kansas City and Carolina, 78% on Kansas City with the 10.5. Only thing I'm going to do there is stay away. Stay away from that game. I'll take the total. Don't lay the 10.5 with the Chiefs, and for sure, don't take Carolina. Minnesota versus Chicago. I have a couple bets in this game that I like. So we got 51% of the public on Minnesota. I think it should be more. There's been no line movement in this game, which is interesting. There's been a little bit of a price movement. It's gone from 3.5's gone from -110 over to -105. I think Minnesota's the right side here. I'm not a big Caleb Williams fan. He definitely has his flashes because he's very talented. But in terms of what Minnesota can throw at rookie quarterbacks, I think it's going to be really hard for Chicago to mount any kind of comeback. And I think that they'll be down here against Minson over 35.5 receiving yards. He's been over this in 12 of his last 14 games, averaging 66.0 receiving yards a game. I like Minnesota -3.5, and I like Hockenson, Big Hock, over 35.5 receiving yards. I don't parlay. Put them in as separate plays. Dallas versus Washington. 76% of the public is on Washington here. This is crazy because the line opened up at -3.5 for Dallas. Now it's +10.5. That's a 14-point movement in the line, which is almost unheard of. Man, laying 10.5. Scary with a rookie quarterback. I wouldn't do it. There's a prop that I like here, though, and it's going to scare you. Jaden Daniels under passing yards. He's been under this is 218.5 in most books. He's been under this in 4 of his last 5 games. The public likes his name, and yes, he is a good quarterback. He's probably going to be a very good quarterback, but his lines are set at what he has been doing. Washington is kind of adjusted to the adjustments they've made against him. Once there's film on rookie quarterbacks, adjustments get made. He's not throwing the ball as deep. He's not doing that roll right and throwing the big bombs to Terry McLaurin. That's just not happening as much anymore. I would take Jaden Daniels under 218 passing yards. Tampa versus New York Giants. 79% of the public is on Tampa. You see that you see Tampa the Giants just cut Danny Petties. Daniel Jones, they cut him. It is going to be super funny to see if Jerry Jones picks him up. That'll be hilarious. But even with Tommy DeVito in there, forget about it. The public's still not siding with him. I hope that gorgeous agent of his, that guy with that mafioso guy, I hope he's on the sideline again, as I can't get enough of that guy. But Tampa Bay and the Giants, this is, opened at 6.5 now. I would probably stay away here too. New England and Miami, 7.5 line. Really been no movement on this. I think Miami's decided to be on here. I don't think that New England, is built to come back in any way. And I think that Miami can get off to a good lead here. You see that Tua likes to force feed Hill and get a lead when they can. There's a prop that I do like here, and it's Jaden Waddle. I like him over his receptions. He's been over 4.5 receptions, over 9 of 11 home games. Thrives at home. I like Jaden Waddle for that. And I do like the Dolphins laying the 7.5. I think that they beat New England by more than a touchdown. We got Tennessee and Houston, 70. Again, man, everyone is on the favorites this week. It's a weird week. It's kind of scary. But Tennessee, Houston, 75% of people on Houston. It opened at 6. Now it's 7.5. I would probably go Houston here, although Tennessee does have a highly ranked defense, believe it or not. There's a bet that I like here, though. I do like one bet, and it's Dalton Schultz over 2.5 catches over this in 7 of his last 8 games with his receivers out. I know Nico Collins is back. Diggs isn't, but when his receivers were out, Stroud had a little bit of a connection with Schultz, and I think 3 catches is too low of a line for him. Denver and Las Vegas, 75% of people around Denver opened at +3 for Denver. Now it's -6 for Denver. Ooh, man. I got burned last week because I had the Falcons against the Broncos, and Bo Nix and the Broncos burned me. But this is a big line movement for a divisional game. This is a divisional game, man. Um, the Cowboys and Commanders are too. But this line movement here, um, the Raiders, I think the Raiders always play Denver tough. And I think this could be another scenario here. Um, I would actually take the 6 with the Raiders. I think the Broncos probably win, but this rivalry, man, is not something that you want to mess around with and lay too many points with. I think that's too much of a swing. Bad move, but he liked the bold move. He liked Greg likes the Raiders outright to win this game. I like it. I like it. Oh yeah, I think that Max Crosby's ready. Did you see the first time that they played? Also, the second time that they're playing. And when you have a rookie quarterback for the second time you see him, it's a lot different, man. It's a lot different. And I said this when Philadelphia played Washington the second time, and look what happened, man. They really put Jaden Daniels in check, and this is the second time that defense is seeing Bo Nix, and I think that they're going to throw something at him. Bo Nix last time they played was so timid. I don't know if you remember, but he was trying to audible, and his guys were looking at him doing this. And Max Crosby in the defensive line actually stood up and goes, "Bo, they can't hear you. You got to talk louder." In the middle of the game, it was hilarious, man. But yeah, I mean, I like the Raiders with the points here, man. I truly, truly do. Arizona and Seattle is the one game that the public is on the underdog, and that's Seattle. 51% only, so it's not that big of a public side, but 51% of people of the public are on Seattle. Opened up at Seattle -1. Now they're getting +1. So you want to take them on the money line. The only reason you take the +1 is if you want to cover, obviously, if you want to cover a push for the 1-point loss, 24-23. You get the point. It pushes 2019, so on and so forth. You get that. I like Seattle in this game. I'm a Seattle fan, but that's not the only reason that I like them. I'm not so much sold on Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. I think that they're the definition of an average team who can play well. I think the talent on the Seattle side far exceeds them. And I think that Kenneth Walker III and DK Metcalf are going to be too much for Arizona. Give me Seattle on the money line there. I like that bet a lot. All right, San Fran and Green Bay. We talked about this. Greg was right. Most of the public is on 81% on San Fran. Opened at -2.5 San Fran. Now it's +3, not 3.5, and that's important to know. So there could be a lot of pushes here. So 3. I am on Green Bay side. I think that man, I'm against the public here. That is a public underdog, San Francisco. I'm on Green Bay because I think a lot of people are looking at San Fran as a San Fran that they know and love from last year and the year before. And that I call that logo shopping. People just look at the logo to decide the team that they want to take. But this year's San Francisco team, if you were just to look blindly at the records and the numbers and the opponent's win-loss, strength of schedule, if you were just to look at the numbers this year, you would have no problem laying that 3 on the Green Bay side of things. But when you put the logo up there, it's a lot different, and that shouldn't be. You have to take your emotion out of it, take what you think you know out of it, and play the numbers, play the percentages. Yeah, T-Bone likes the pack too. Lay the Packers. I'm going to do it. Lay the 3 with the Packers. We'll get the push if they win by 3, but this Niners team is not what they used to be. Philly and the Rams, 61.6% of people are on Philadelphia. Opened at +1 for Philly. Now it's -2. Unless Matt Stafford becomes the Matt Stafford of old in a time machine, I don't think that they'll be able to keep up with the surging Philadelphia Eagles here. I like the Eagles. I have no problem laying 2 points here. It's one of the best defenses in the NFL. It's underrated. Not a lot of people know that. But Jalen Hurts is getting confident. He's got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, a healthy Saquon Barkley leads the NFL in rushing. That offense is looking very, very scary. I think they're the only threat to the Lions in the NFC so far this season. Maybe the Packers, but give me the Eagles. I'm gonna lay the two with them. And finally, Baltimore and the Chargers. 61% of people are on Baltimore. It's a 3-point spread. It hasn't moved. The price has moved a little bit. And I'm going to tell you the same thing I told you when Baltimore played Pittsburgh. Two good teams with two very good defenses. The Chargers give up the least amount of points in the NFL. What is the weakest unit on the field in this game? By far, it's the Baltimore Ravens pass defense. They cannot rush the passer, and they cannot stop the passing game. I think that this is a Chargers game. I'm going to forego the points. I'm taking them on the money line. Give me the Chargers on the money line. I think you should too. There's a glaring hole in terms of what the biggest weakness on the field is here, and that's the Ravens pass defense. So give me the Chargers on the money line. Greg likes Philly by a mile. Yeah, absolutely, Greg. I'm with you on that. All right, guys. Any questions on the NFL or those college football plays that I gave you? Or also, too, man, do you guys want – see, the thing is here, I love doing the show, by the way. Thank you for all the support. Spread the word. We're going to keep doing it. I love it to death. Weekdays, 3 to 3:30. Should we go a little bit longer? Because there's a lot that I jam in. Let me know if we should go a little bit longer. I can't do the weekends just because Saturday and Sunday are so busy with football reads. Do I take Halliburton points and assists today? Hell no. He's so something's wrong with his back and his state of mind as a human being in general. No, Branson, I would stay away, man. I would stay away from Halliburton. I would only fade him. No, even though it's a good rival game, I think that gets a little taken a little out of context when there's so many games in the association. 82 games a year. I don't think those games mean as much to them as it does to us. Thanks, Branson. Appreciate you, brother. Any other questions, guys? Before we go today. So I'm trying to fit as much content as I can into the half an hour. And what that does, that's leaving a little bit to be desired with the college football stuff and that. I want to get into that more, but let me know what you guys in the comments are still on when the video ends. So let me know what you guys want content wise. Do you want more college football, more NFL, more NBA, NHL, college hoops? Let me know what you guys want because I do everything. Any other questions, guys? Not big on the NBA stage. Any recommendation on which way to go today? Which way to go in terms of so Branson, quick question. Were you here for the NBA props that we did or no? Okay, so Branson, for the NBA props, a couple things that I do like today. Probably find it real fast for you. I love Carlton Carrington of the Wizards, over 13.5 points and assists. I like Alex Sarr of the Wizards, over 8.5 points. I like Dyson Daniels of the Hawks, over 16.5 points plus assists. I also like PJ Washington, over 6.5 boards for the Mavericks. Those are my NBA plays today. I got a couple more, too, that are members only that sent out to members. If you want to become a Jungle member, silverbackjungle.com. Communicate with me all day. My exact betting card gets pinged to your phone every single day. Had a rough start to November. Middle of November was pretty good, and we're turning the corner now, hoping to go into December strong after a really strong October. Any other questions, guys, before we pop out? So I'll have a college football video out tonight. NFL video, of course, tomorrow. And I'll see you back here strong. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, Branson. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for everything. I will see you Monday, 3 o'clock. A little more money in your pocket.